some woman or something was saying how much she wanted to experience an archangel or an angelic being. And Steiner's like, so you really would like to do that? And she's like, oh yes, I would very much. He says, I can describe for you probably what would occur. She goes, okay. And he goes, when a human being in the state that we're in now would experience an unfallen angelic presence, the reflection would be so powerful as to all of a sudden we would know viscerally in our hearts how far we are, how far we've fallen from the nature we were given in the higher worlds, that we would fall on the ground and writhe in agony in the presence of this being because of the truth of ourselves it was simply showing us by being there.
Welcome to the Expanding Consciousness YouTube channel. And today we have a special guest, Dale, the voice of Steiner, here with us. What a delight. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And I have prepared some questions. And we can go straight on them. How did you first come into contact with Steiner's work?
I suppose I started because I read people like Gurdjieff and Carl Jung and philosophy in general. I had an orientation, toward ideas, I guess, in general. So I went to college for a philosophy degree, and I got a math degree as well. And in a philosophy class, a man was asking questions in a different way. I'd never heard anybody ask about percepts and concepts and all this. And I asked him about it, and he just slid the philosophy of freedom across the table at me. And I read that, and I was just taken aback by it. Didn't understand why we weren't studying Steiner in a philosophy class. And then from there, I just proceeded to be even more amazed by an outline of esoteric science and a lot of the other stuff, and just kept snowballing even to this day. I'm every day as I'm a little more amazed that Rudolf Steiner ever lived. So that's how that happened. I was really ready for it, and it fit in me like a glove. I really feel, as I mentioned to people before, when I saw Steiner's name, I kind of laughed a little bit because it sounded like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something. Rudolf Steiner. It sounds a little lighthearted and comical. But at the same time, I got this singular leap of joy in my heart. And I went, whoa, why is that? I haven't even read the book yet. So I found that interesting, too, that maybe there was some kind of karmic thing there that was being reawakened in me. Who knows, Yeah. And so I did record the books in 78, 79, the basic texts, and I had them on cassettes. Remember those Philip cassettes?
No.
The Netherlands. They were invented in the Netherlands. Do you remember those?
I was born in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't know if they were around anymore. But that's how we all had a Walkman, a thing called a Walkman.
I remember having a Walkman.
So I had them in my car, and I listened to them. And then, over the years, the internet came into existence, and then Napster and all the audio and video came into existence. And it dawned on me one day, well, why not put these on? And so I wrote to Steiner Books in America and asked permission if they would let me record them. And about 2 months later, they said, sure, no problem.
What year was this?
Sorry?
What year was this?
Okay, good. 2004, I asked them in November, and in February of 2005, they gave me permission. So 20 years ago, we're on the 21st year now. And then it was about 10 years later that RudolfSteinerPress.com in England gave me permission. They were still working on audiobooks themselves, but decided to let me do it. So yeah, and I still do it, maybe 20 minutes a day or more. It just depends on kind of my strength. I'm 68 now. I don't have the same stamina. I make too many mistakes. I just stop recording because I'm sick. I know I'm going to have to go clean those up, and drives me nuts. But sometimes I'm good. I got a good day, and yeah, so I still do it. Yeah. Is that a good enough answer?
It was a good, because my second question was, did you have any realization? You kind of answered the question, but I would read the question anyway. Did you have any realization? Wow, this person writes on such at a mind-boggling level, but you had it immediately, maybe.
No, I mean, that's still something that grows on you, but yeah, I mean, it was a clarity, and you might use the word nonchalance. Steiner was so strange about how, to me, is so strange about how directly perceivable it feels he's seeing what he's telling you. People go, well, he's thinking that up, and I go, I do not experience Steiner like that.
Wow.
He doesn't think stuff up. He sees stuff, and then he translates his perceptions into something that sounds like that. And I just sense that. It's thrilling to me that somebody is clairvoyance is that transparent and rational and scientifically based, and the concepts that his trained mind, because he had such a good education in his culture, gives us such a clarity. And in that clarity, there's so much freedom. We're not supposed to be kowtowing to a guru or some kind of authority figure that, though we have people obviously that do that, right? But and I will, say Herr Dr. Hat gesagt once in a while myself. But yeah, so that was a big deal for me, and still is. And the more you read him, especially the lectures out loud, and Wilhelm, I recommend it just for fun, that when you read one of his lectures out loud, you do get taken up, even in translation. And you could probably read them in, what would you read them in? German, Swedish?
In Swedish, I would.
Yeah.
Or I prefer English.
In English, even.
In English.
They take you up. And there I even caught, oh, wow, this guy, has a real body of vision that he's speaking out of. And that's thrilling for me. I think that gets communicated once in a while, too, because I do get moved by it. And that can't help but find its way into the recording. Good. I think I finished that one.
I mostly consume Steiner's writings through your videos. And I love listening
Wonderful.
to them.
That's sweet. Thank you.
Because I remember, I will get a little bit quick background here, just
Yes.
for fun. Because I was studying symbolism for many, many years. This was a super interesting topic to me. And I read Jung, a lot of Jung, and his Liber Novus, his red book. And it's written symbolically.
Yep.
So I really got studied symbolism, and then I started analyzing my own dreams. And you have special experience there, understanding symbols through your dreams, when unlocking the symbolism with your intellect and the emotion in the dreams. And then I was thinking that, I'm quite a clever guy now, I think. And then I also had come to the realization that the Bible is written symbolically.
Yeah.
You have to read it just not like this. From the other side, you have to read it. And then I was searching for interpretation on St. John's Apocalypse. And I searched for one, I think. I was not satisfied with my understanding. And then I searched for like 3 or 4 months. Then I came upon Steiner's writings. And I was just... What is this? What? I was blown. I said, how can he write like this? What is going on? That brings us to our third question. And that is just Steiner's understanding of symbolism and his interpretations. What's your view on them?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know a lot about that per se. Of course, he speaks about him in the esoteric lessons. There's places where he says that if he had been able to create what's called the third class of the School of Spiritual Science, that it would have been all symbols, that there would have really been no discussion in a way through language. I think everything would have been done by symbols. Now, what that meant always has been baffling to me, right? But that, if he could have ever gone there. And he talks about the highest forms of esotericism ultimately are what communicated, experienced meditatively, all that through symbol and not through language necessarily so much anymore, right? So there's that. I had another thought. It slipped by as I was saying that one. There's a guy named Florin Lowndes. Do you know him? Lowndess. And he has taken the philosophy of freedom, for example, and using diagrams, they're more like geometric shapes, I think, and colored pencils, he has, and I have only seen somebody show me this, I've never pursued it, tried to show that every paragraph from the original German paragraphs, every paragraph creates a certain shape, a symbolic shape. And there's a lot of people that try to study this guy's method. So I'm throwing that out for you down the road if you ever get a chance to see that and see if it appeals to you. I don't pursue that myself. So sorry about that. In terms of symbols, I'm not somebody who knows much about it other than this Jung. Man and His Symbols was the first book, that large format Jung book in English that I got as a kid when I was probably 17. Absolutely stunned me. And I have the big red book, and then I have the small red book that they made they took all the pictures out of it and just took the text and put that into a nice
edition.
You know that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have both of those.
I have many videos on my YouTube channel about the red book. Liebe novels, yes.
Totally. Well, I will totally listen to those. Great. Thank you.
I don't know.
No, that would be great.
And I try to interpret them.
Yeah.
But because they're written symbolically. So. And also, okay, now we're off the topic a little bit. But
okay.
I remember listening to one of your videos, Steiner and psychoanalysis. I think.
Yeah.
And there he mentions Jung and Freud. And he writes something like, Jung is a clever fellow and he's really onto something. And I think this was like so it was early in Jung's career. And Steiner mentions him. But he writes like his fears about introvert and extrovert. This just how if there is more thinking or feeling person. And just a farmer can understand that. Do it. I remember.
So what was that last thing you said about the thinking and feeling?
He, for example, in Carl Jung's work, he writes about introvert and extrovert.
Yes.
And then Steiner writes like this. That can even a common sense farmer understand, because it's either the person is more dominated by thought or emotion.
Huh. Okay.
And he was, that can you see easy.
So he was sort of dismissing Jung, do you think?
No, he was not dismissing him.
Okay.
But he was this is basic.
I see.
Common sense can see this is not. But he writes that Jung is really onto something here, and Jung lived for many years after.
Yeah. I mean, a giant, really.
Yes.
No question about that.
A magician, an alchemist.
Perhaps so.
Yes, I assume.
There's a biography of Jung by a man named Gerhard Wehr, Wehr, and there's comments in there about. In fact, he also wrote a book on Steiner and Jung. So there's a picture of Steiner, picture of Jung on the cover, and so and Jung, I think one of Jung's daughters or something married an anthroposophist. He wasn't partial to Steiner. He didn't really, shall we say, I think, how would we say this? Give Steiner the benefit of the doubt about his level of consciousness. I don't think he thought that consciousness could go beyond what we have, except in dream forms and in the certain forms of meditation that Jung had. So I think it was a big division between them, ultimately. Frankly, I think so. In those psychoanalysis lectures, you get the impression that Steiner didn't feel that people like Freud and Jung and those people did not really take their own inner life seriously. I know this sounds bizarre, in the sense of truly training their inner life, training it scientifically, training it in real rigorous meditation exercises, et cetera, et cetera. And so they were very clever. They were very happy with their cleverness. And they took that aspect of it and created what they created. He felt that had that one-sidedness because their inner life had not truly been developed appropriately from Steiner's point of view. I think I'm being fair there when I say that. And it doesn't matter to me. I still love Jung and I'm still going to read him. But it's fascinating when you get that from him. And I think one of Jung's kids married an anthroposophist, and there was some roaring at the table. At least Gerhard Wehr mentions it in the biography. because he was not, happy that in a sense that, his daughter was around such foolishness.
What?
I think he thought of anthroposophy as foolishness. I think Jung did.
In the book? Oh.
I'm going to say that. I
Very.
don't want to step on it, but I think so. I think he just felt that nobody can have the kind of consciousness Steiner claims he has.
Because Jung,
so what do we do with what he said?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
In Jung's last books, Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, he writes about karma and rebirth. And so he writes like, it's hard to know really anything about this. And you never know, and I have no proof of this. Or he just dismisses them. Or not, he has not gone all the way, I feel, with Jung.
Neither have I, right? And I don't know about you, but so there's that side of it. And he had to stay on this side for his scientific formulations to be defensible and respectable in science. And that's really powerful because it took him, to me, so far beyond Freud, which I think was really healthy for the world. It was really good that happened, right? And he couldn't go there. And he said, there's even a set of letters I was reading, and I noticed somebody had written him about Gurdjieff. You're familiar with Gurdjieff?
No.
Okay, so he was another guy who might, kind of a flamboyant Armenian man who has a big following in America, for instance. And he said, well, Gurdjieff said, blah, 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 blah. And, Jung more or less says, well, fine. There's no way you or I can corroborate such a claim. So I don't know why you're writing it to me. I don't know why you're telling it to me. It doesn't mean anything to me because I can't actually verify its truth. And I'm not just going to start following along with it. And I think he was very much like that with Steiner and pretty much anything that he couldn't find into his level. In occultism, in symbolism and all these things, everything is brought to a certain place that can be justified in a scientific setting. Fair enough? I'm going to say that. I don't know. You can argue with me, but I think...
No, I'm not going to argue with you because I agree.
Yeah, very careful. He was very careful that way. And Steiner went, look, the world needs this. I know this. It has to be said. And I know I'm going to have people galore like Jung who are going to dismiss what I say. He just knew that was going to happen, right? There's no way it wasn't going to happen. And I don't know to this day if he's true. I don't know to this day if Steiner's correct. I can only know that when I've acquired a form of consciousness that has the ability to enter into his information directly through my own spiritual experience and verify it. Right? I don't follow Steiner. I know that sounds weird for people, but I'm absolutely stunned by what I'm reading. Yeah. And I know there's people go, oh no, Steiner said this is true. It's got to be true. I go, I don't know what you're talking about either. So I'm almost Jungian in that sense. But it resonates so strongly with me. And I live in such a spiritual wasteland in this materialistic culture that I just know in of itself is too one-sided. It needs more brought in to make it healthy, right? So I think of Steiner as an antidote to that. And yeah, I think I'm really rambling here, so I'll shut up.
I agree. When I studied Steiner, it's like, how can you write like this? Is he even human? I have this like, was he human or what? How can it be on such a high level? Isn't it? When he writes about the astrology, for example, that's just and the hierarchies, fascinating.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's all I can't find any real, contradiction. No. All the giant body of knowledge and all these facts coming from everywhere, and nothing's colliding with anything. Not really. People can say this is true, but he goes into that, and I can go into that and go, no, those are just 2 points of view that look different from each other, but they're complementary. They're not contradictory. Yeah.
You often give the example of the tree. You go. You have to have all the sides. You cannot just look at one side. You see.
Yeah.
That's
my tree. Well, that's not the correct tree. No, it really is. It's from this side. What are you talking about? I'm standing here. I see that tree. You're wrong.
Of course, you fool.
Yeah.
But I must also. I've been looking for that. Is there anything I can that's not true? In the breakdown, is there anything here I can just dismiss that? No, that's false, and I can't find anything.
Well, there could be some dated historical things that a person could possibly nitpick. You know what I mean? And I go, but massive facts, that's what I would want to know about, And I don't think that I found anything yet. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Steiner also writes about the Ahrimanic and Luciferic deceptions, and this is early 1900s. Or is it? You do your numbers the wrong way, maybe. In the early, in 18, no? Over 100 years ago, he writes
He
about
probably in 1896 or so might have written about some of that. I can't recall actually when that became really much more focused upon. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, 1902 is when he became the general secretary of the Theosophical Society, and he used a lot of words there that were more Eastern until he gradually weaned everybody into more of a Western orientation to esotericism. So I don't know. Maybe there are even words in that you could call Luciferic and Ahrimanic, and he didn't use those words yet. But I think he did. I think he was even back into the 1890s.
And it's so interested to look at the world with those views. And my question: what do you believe Stein would say if he came back today?
You know, he really had, to me, a real benefit of the doubt that the goodwill of people was going to be operating all the time, and I don't think I see that very well anymore. I see the materialism, the hard-heartedness is very strong, and I look at that as an Ahrimanic influence, the materialistic influence, the fact that, oh, you only live one lifetime, and I'm just going to go for the gusto, and I just don't honestly really care about anybody else. And I think that's I don't want to black and white that, but it's so prevalent in so much of what I experience. And I think he would be, saddened that the world hasn't awoken to a healthy spirituality. Let's call it that, right? Oh. And so we still have the madness of the religions in the world in so many ways, and they're even getting scarier. I don't know what I'm more scared of. The madness of a hardcore science or the madness of a hardcore religious life. I don't know what, if you believe. See, here's another thing, Wilhelm, that I struggle with as I've gotten older. What is believing?
It's not.
What am I doing? Yeah. What am I doing when I believe? I mean, why would I ever want to do that?
I'm hoping for something. I'm hoping for something.
Or I'm going to pretend something's true that I don't know is true. Yeah. Don't do that to yourself. That's a form of insanity to me. And yet people go, what do you do then? Well, what I do is I do use a kind of a scientific orientation, and something strikes me as possible, and I start living in it and working with it and wondering about it. It becomes a working hypothesis that I carry with me in my life. Does it resonate? Is there a truth that resonates with it as time goes by? Yeah. Am I believing? I don't think I am. I'm just experiencing, right? And so that's another part of the whole thing that like religions want to believe. You've got to, do you believe in God? Well, that's not a good question to ask somebody.
Smells like monism.
Don't ask them that. Doesn't make any sense. Ask them, what's your spiritual experience of the world? Oh, I don't have any. Oh, okay. Well, what about life? What's life to you? Well, it's these cells dividing in my arm here. See? Oh, really? That's life? Really? I mean, every 7 years, your whole body's been replaced. All the cells are gone. You've got new cells. You're not even physically the same person anymore. Is that just mundane? Is that just, of course, matter of fact, boring to you? Or is it absolutely magically, shockingly amazing? You know what I mean? So we've taken all these, right? And from Steiner's point of view, you have literally spiritual activity permeating your organism all the time, called life. You see it here and go, that's life. Well, that's like looking at the shadows on Plato's cave wall, right? That's not life. Life is these radiating forces from the cosmos that are the love of spiritual beings pouring into you and maintaining your existence so you can evolve. All the time. Why would you need to believe in anything if you can finally connect to that? What about consciousness? Well, what's that? Well, you got this electrical activity in your brain. Hamlet is not electrical activity in my brain. Shakespeare is not electrical activity in my brain. That's dumb, what you're saying. Okay, sure, you need it. We're on the planet. We're incarnated in these bodies, and they need to see consciousness. So yes, The brain is there so I can see and experience consciousness, but the brain isn't consciousness. That's again exactly the opposite of what the world sees. My brain thinks. My brain walks around.
Yeah, you should speak like that. Most people.
Yeah,
They should.
right. Like Steiner
My
said.
brain.
That's what you don't say. I walk around the room. Say my brain walks around the room.
My brain loves you.
You know, and that's okay with people now.
Yeah,
Actually, what you just said is actually perfectly fine. I'm like, no, that's not right. I mean, but I can see why it's right. Right? We can see why that, and that's because maybe Steiner's lifted us a little bit up out of the darkness, a little bit. Even though I myself am not having these experiences directly, the ideas are so powerful, and when you apply them, they're so rich. Yes, life. Wow. So if I could see it, I would see the entire empty space of the universe, all the way out to the farthest stars, is permeated with life. But I don't have the eyes to see it. All I have are physical eyes, and all my physical eyes see is empty space. Isn't that wild? If I had astral eyes, I would see spiritual beings interweaving and interacting and working with beautiful intelligence all the way to the farthest stars. I don't have astral eyes, so I see empty space. So we live in this separation from the Godhead, the spiritual world, according to Steiner's picture, so we can become free, right?
Why don't we see Bible, it?
Sorry, go ahead.
Why don't we see them, you think? Or
well,
believe?
Because we wouldn't be free yet until the eye is strengthened to the necessary level of its own ownership and possess itself. And then through the trainings that anthroposophy, I think anthroposophy is the best deal, gives you can start to grow this, lower ego into something where you can awaken to the full self that you are, right? Through all the incarnations that you've been. And the process of doing that will awaken the astral organs of perception, will awaken the etheric organs of perception, right? And then you will see those things. In fact, we kind of probably do see them, but we don't have any ability to, either remember or, I don't know, it has to find its way into the etheric body for me to have a memory of it, right? So, yeah, we have the organs, they're just not awake. Is that kind of what you're saying when you asked your question?
Or if we are not maybe ready for the full experience.
Well, if we're not ready, we would just be overshadowed,
pulverized,
right? Like and stuff. They just overshadow you. If I walked into the spiritual world, if I saw my guardian angel right now, I'd forget who the hell I was. You know what I mean? I'd be so by the glory of an angel that I wouldn't know who I was anymore. Right now, I'd forget who I was. It would be so glorious. Why would I care about me when I've got a glorious being like this to just take me into your bosom, man? Right? And it's so weird to me in the Bible that this glorious moment where we woke up in the senses is considered a tragedy, is considered the fall of the human being. And it is a fall. It's an important fall. It was designed by the higher beings so that we would enter into matter and in matter separate from the spiritual world. That was a good thing, not a bad thing. Isn't that weird?
To me, no. It's an act of love, wouldn't it be?
It is.
Yes.
And people go, but now I'm in disease. Now I'm in evil. Now I'm in people hurting each other.
Pain and suffering.
Well, that's happened, hasn't it? That's happened after the fall, that in our darkness, all this hindrance, all this suffering is there, constantly waking us up to something's wrong. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. Right? This isn't how we should do things. Why isn't it? Why do I have questions? Why do I look at a plant and go, gosh, I don't know what that plant is? How come I don't know? I got to study and understand that plant or that animal or that chemical reaction, right? That we're constantly finding the connection between percept and concept through thinking all the time. An unending becoming from the moment we're born till the moment we die, right?
And I'm a very pragmatic person, I would say. And I always look at what has effect. And I feel that, the most effectful I've read is actually Steiner's work. He has such effect on me. Philosophy gives me such courage to just take in his writings, personally.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be alive. I'm really not sure I'd be alive if I hadn't found Steiner's work.
You see this?
I do,
Why?
because of the darkness of the materialism. I don't know if I would have found any strength without the ideas of Steiner to
Yes.
orient me in such a way that I could push up against it, find my place, and go, no, I'm going to do what I can, and whatever small way I can, I'm going to do what I can to,
Yeah.
To open the other side up, or give people a chance to open the other side up themselves through their own work, right? And so that gave me a purpose, I guess, as well too. But yeah, no, I will say that. I don't want to sound too melodramatic, but yeah, I'll leave it there.
When I started reading Steiner, he writes also about laughter. You have read, I don't know how many hours you have read. Maybe you can't remember everything, but he writes about laughter, and laughter is the increase of size of the astral body, and when crying, it decreases. And for a long time, I did stand-up comedy here in Sweden. Yes, and my occult plan with the comedy was, it's very hard to talk to people, so you have to use the humor to get into them. And this was my plan all along. And then I found Steiner's work, and I started using his esoteric truths in the jokes. And the effect on the audience was just wow.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, we're using humor. I just inside them, But then they threw me out. I was thrown out.
Well, tell me more. Why?
Sadly, the humor, I don't know if you do watch stand-up comedy or the humor, but you can really get a feeling of the level of consciousness in society through humor.
I see.
And I was just, it's horrible right now, the stand-up comedy, I think. I know, it's horrible. It's just like, I shit myself yesterday and I have problems with my wife, or it's disgusting.
I see.
And people are longing for the deeper jokes with much more than that boom in them. And I pulverized people using Stein's esoteric truth in my jokes. For example, what do you know about life after death? When I joke like this, I heard you can rebirth. I heard this, and the honest was they loved it, but the community threw me out.
So their dogma, was it something dogmatic that you were running up against, that you were bumping up against?
Yes, I hit the dogma. The dogma is like the allowed thought cage you can be in when joking. For example, in society, for example. Just the word dogma took many years for me to understand, with the emotions. But I hit the dogma.
That old joke is my karma ran over your dogma, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a good joke.
It might be one of those, but that's fascinating, really. I wouldn't, but it's right. You're right. I've never heard a comedian ever, use those kinds of concepts and ideas in their jokes at all. And yeah, that's interesting.
But the effect,
isn't that something?
The effect was, when I first went to try it, I was like, what? This has such effect. You can really get behind the, some shields people have with the jokes, with humor.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful tool in these days.
Steiner was, from reading the lecture cycles, I've got to say that when he gave them in Sweden, they're some of the most beautiful lecture cycles he ever gave. And they're very warm. They're filled with warmth. You can tell in there. Whereas if he's in Berlin or Munich or something like that, there's a very kind of rigid intellectualism he has to use for that culture. Otherwise, they'll just dismiss him. Oh, you're just being warm-hearted or something. So he really did love to speak up there. The mission of the folk souls, the spiritual beings in the heavenly bodies in the kingdoms of nature was given up there. Lots of hierarchy lectures were given up there. The very first 5th gospel lectures were actually given in, I think, in Oslo, and it was called Christiania. And then he gave them again in Berlin. And in the book, they have those 2 sets. So you can read the Swedish set, and then they're almost the same lectures, right, for the Berlin. But you can tell the difference between them. Very fascinating.
I didn't think about that but when you mention it, because I read them both.
Yeah.
But when you mention, that's very true.
Yeah.
Good,
It is.
very good observation. I didn't know this.
When it shocks you, you're reading them out loud,
Yeah.
right? So you really do have another dimension, and I recommend that. You have another dimension that starts to come out, no matter if you think you're a good reader or whatever. It doesn't mean anything. You get caught up in it, in what he's doing, in that. Even with translation, I'm sure we miss a lot, but we get something. We get something too.
Yeah.
I was going to mention on my computer where I store all my files, it does give me the amount of time that I've read. And the amount of time I've recorded is about 87 days.
That's a lot. Like 24/7.
Yeah,
Oh,
24/7,
yeah.
3 months. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's about how much, Yeah.
It's a good amount.
I guess, but it's just a little bit every day. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything to
For
me.
20
But
years.
nowadays, people go to the page and they see all this. They go, oh my God, how did this happen? And you just, 20 years of somebody's life, they could get.
And you only do 20 minutes a day.
Well, it depends. If it's a really good lecture or a set of something, I can fall into doing it longer. I went for the sweetest things I love the most at first. So I would read for really long periods of time 20 years ago. And I'd read a whole lecture at a time, probably for an hour. And I'm reading the Michael mystery right now, which is a set of letters Steiner wrote more or less on his deathbed.
Yeah.
And they're very, very beautiful, and they're very intense, but they're only 3 or 4 pages long. So they're only like 10 or 12 minutes long a piece. And they're so intense that I am recording them as separate files. So they'll be separate lectures. And I find myself reading 3 or 4 or 5 of those a day because they're just so stunning. And, so I'm reading a little longer is my point right now. Yeah.
Will you mention some? This is not the question, but speaking about Michael, and I think it's fascinating his writings. How would you describe Michael in these times?
In these times, well, I mean, probably the same times, but right, Steiner. I'm actually reading that right now, so I can have some clearer idea of it. But Michael is, Steiner says, right, was the regent for the cosmic intelligence. He ruled the cosmic intelligence. And at a certain time in evolution, that cosmic intelligence had to actually be bestowed on humanity. So humanity would, in a sense, in its freedom, take up cosmic intelligence into human intelligence, intellectuality. And this was the Renaissance. In the 15th century, this happened, where it really came out of the physical body's processes. It wasn't sort of etheric forces. It wasn't astral forces. It came out of the physical body's forces through the brain and stuff. We really started to become brain-bound thinkers. We really penetrated the physical world with intense passion because that's where our consciousness had gone to, right? The problem is, of course, is once that happened, then there were beings in the cosmos that went, oh, look at this. These guys are getting control of this cosmic intelligence from Michael. And they began to work into that process. It's like a flower open that they can enter into. And these are the Ahrimanic forces. And now they had a real opportunity to take that intellectuality and take it away from Michael and the higher beings and the good gods, call them, right? And bring it into their own sphere and make it into and human beings would be, because of the nature of our physical brain thinking now, would be so captivated by their amazing intelligence, because they were beings who could take this intelligence and just really tempt us with it, right? They could influence us with it. Michael never influenced us, would never do that, right? So we're, in a way, that Ahrimanic is is in our time. It's the powerful beings of our time, right? And but Michael is there, and how does he say this so beautifully? He says it so beautifully in here. He's stands there and he keeps pushing the Ahrimanic forces under us. This picture of Michael and the dragon, right?
Yes.
And it keeps that process going, so that we have the opportunity for this free experience of intelligence. And in Steiner coming, and in anthroposophy appearing, you have the messenger of Michael, who then could bring what the intelligence really does look like when Ahriman does not possess it. I think I said that well right there.
You did.
Okay.
You
Okay.
did.
And we go, oh, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Oh, well, this is science. Yeah, it's good, but no, this is better science here.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
on the
mean?
other side also, you know.
It doesn't throw that away, right? But it fills it in.
Yes.
It brings the life and the holiness back into it, right? Into the science again, without, religion, shall we say, right? So there he is. So there's Michael working, wanting then us to bring this cosmic intelligence transformed through us into something new, back into the higher worlds. And that was probably the reason for the gift being given in the first place, right? Is that we will transform it into something higher and greater, and then will be brought back to Michael, brought back to the higher beings. And in that, the Christ then is something in our inner life where the love and the life of thought is sustained by him, so that we can continue to battle even with the Ahrimanic forces being as powerful as they are, because he didn't vanquish them, right? He could only, I guess you might say, put them in their place, but they're still going to work on us. I got a little loosey-goosey on the end there, but I did pretty well in some of that.
Yes.
Some of that was pretty good.
But people are so clever. People are so clever today. They love the cleverness also.
Oh, we love that.
We love.
I don't need to learn it. I'm 20 years old. I know everything already. Not 20. I know it all, right?
When I was younger, I played chess. I'm
a big chess player myself.
You are?
Yeah. What rating did you end up? Did you have an ELO rating at the time? Just curious.
Yes, but I stopped playing when I was 12 or 13. But I play at Lichess right now, and I'm at 22.
So you're like a master level player?
No. On Lichess, you have to pull some points off. Like maybe if you're 22 at Lichess, you need to remove 500 points, I think, or something.
So I was about a 1700 rated player at that high point. That's in America though, so I don't know what the numbers are.
I would assume if I played today, I would assume the same.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yes.
Anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead. So you were playing chess.
Yes, and it's fun about people love the cleverness, because I see this in many chess players. They get so their ego is their elo rating.
Yeah.
And they die in that condition.
Yeah.
Chess is like strong chess player. You limit yourself. And I'm very glad that because when I was young, I was a talent in chess. Then when my parents realized I'm a talent, and people, trainers come over to my, I was 6 or 7. Then
wow.
Yes. And the only tournament I won was my first. And then my parents, they were, he's a talent. Then we can, we have to join him. And then I didn't want to spend that much time. There were too much pressure on me. And then I lost the joy of chess. Then, but I was a talent when I was 6 years.
Isn't that wonderful?
And I won my first tournament.
Very cool.
And after that, I never won anything.
I still get the New in Chess magazine. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No, I don't.
It's out of the Netherlands. And it's just really, really good. If you ever get a chance to get a copy and take a look at it. It's called New in Chess. I don't know what it would be in Dutch or Swedish, but yeah.
Oh, New in Chess. New Quack.
Yeah.
The only chess I play on online, and I watch some chess.com highlights on YouTube, actually. Yes.
Yeah, and so I have the magazine. I have a chess set out, and I just kind of play over games, and stuff like that. And just got to see what I can see, which isn't much, compared to those guys.
Speaking about chess, this is another thing I've been really, because I remember I had a chess program called Stockfish. This is
Sure.
in like 2018, and then they
Yeah.
did another program called Alpha Zero, and it was AI
Yes.
programmed.
Yes.
I remember watching that game, and it was like the AI was playing from another planet. And then Steiner writes about, Ahriman's incarnation is inevitable, and it's going to happen here and here. And so, but AI is a very Ahrimanic force. Very
It is
Ahrimanic,
something, isn't it? Yeah, the Luciferic and the Ahrimanic are really so defined in our time that in and of itself, that makes Steiner kind of interesting. Because in his day, right, in 1910, Ahriman, really? Oh, yeah, trains. Yeah, steam-driven trains, Ahriman. Telegraph. Phones now. I mean, just little things like that, which were so massive to society, right? They changed so much. But now, man, with the AI and stuff, and Alpha Zero's, like they say, somewhere around 3,700.
Yeah.
So it's like 1,000 points above every human being that can really.
The best human being,
yeah. The thing that indeed that made me lose the love of the game, the romance, let's call it that, the romance of the game, was when computers were good enough to beat master level chess players. That was about 1972 to 75, right in there. And I went, a machine? Oh, why am I playing this game anymore? Yeah. That's because it didn't exist, right? For me in the 60s, there were no computers that, to speak of that could do anything like that. Yeah. So that's true. I have that same thing. But we are far afield here, aren't we?
Yes. There is a certain creative romance with chess. If you play a good game, when you play with feeling also, just not correctly, you play,
I agree.
It's lovely.
It's some unbelievably exciting moments of seeing something, or even.
And then some computer. No, that was bad.
I have all my games written down, so I still have them written down. Every once in a while, I'll pull them out and play over a game or two, and just look at it and go, "I could really play that well." Then. That's amazing.
Then you turn on the computer. Okay. Well,
I'll never win again.
Unfortunately, no. But when you
maybe that's a good thing.
Reading Steiner and thinking about the Ahrimanic forces, and then looking at AI, and this but AI can give every material pleasure you ever wanted, and you just diving deeper into materialism, trapped forever.
Yeah. Wow.
Because why would you have certain thoughts when the AI is so amazing and clever?
Yeah.
But he writes about, as you spoke, the battle of the intellect and the intelligence. Yes.
I mean, it comes down to like, do you love your mother? Yes. Well, prove it to me. And that's just a stupid thing to say. You can't prove you love your mother. So there's this whole dimension of human experience that's actually more important than the intellect in so many ways. That is that the intellect can't touch. But we don't notice that. We don't seem to. We forget about it because of we're so enamored by the creations of the intellect, right? I don't know if that was a good thought, but I sometimes think how strange it is. What's provable and what isn't provable. I don't know. Does that matter? I mean, it's just a certain category of knowledge that needs that criterion.
And for me, people often confuse the intellect with intelligence. For example,
there you go.
Intellect is the intellectual part, the logical part, and intelligence is the balance between emotion and the logical part. Therefore, intellect and genesis. So it's even a double word, but they confuse it with just intellect. You can be the best chess player in the world and have low intelligence, but high intellect.
Interesting, yeah.
For example.
I mean, in a way, you could really see Bobby Fischer that happened to him, if anything. That he kind of lost his mind. That I don't sense any intelligence anymore in so many ways. People are going to laugh out loud that I say that, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, but they can think what they want.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind.
Let them have it.
Any other questions?
Yes, we went off topic. Yes. You also write, this is you don't have to answer this if you don't want. But Steiner writes about to have certain occult or certain experience, the occult pupil must leave his body. And I was curious, have you had any, when getting involved with Steiner's work, any like profound dream or certain, or during any of his, have you tried his meditations, for example, and what's your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had anything that really sticks out myself. I haven't had any out of body experiences that I can recall, right? And as time went on in my life, I realized that this was probably something that I was preparing for that wouldn't really give any fruit for this lifetime. So I'm not in any hurry to have any experiences like that either, as it were. How good I do the exercises, there's no way to measure that in a way because of there being no teachers, that I've ever come in contact with. I don't, as he says, usually when you need the teacher, they will appear, right? That's a famous phrase from Steiner. So that hasn't happened. I haven't had it, except for Steiner being that teacher when he appeared. So, yep. So that's a short answer to that. No, I haven't. I always think of myself as the Joe Sixpack of anthroposophy.
But for me, if you're having a dream, you're not quite in your body when you're dreaming. Your body is there and you're doing other things.
Yeah.
So for me, dreams is certainly an out of body experience.
That's nice. Yeah, I can see that.
And
you're having them, aren't you? Kind of, you're remembering them because you're in the time between
yes,
being asleep and waking up, or vice versa. Of going to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's that sweet moment right in there when the bodies are re-interpenetrating each other, that there's enough of a contact to the etheric body that you remember some dream experience you've been having. Now I'm just kind of anthroposophizing that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
For example, when I started reading Steiner myself, or reading, I was mostly listening to your readings.
Yeah.
95% of it. But when I took in the information, it changed my dreams. So I remember, for example, I was working at my company and trying to fix things. And then I died, but then I could solve, I'm not really dead, I go through here now. And it changed my dreams, for example.
Isn't that
taking that information, yes.
And that's endured ever since.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, in my dreams, suddenly I get these lucid dreams when you have a little bit of, awareness or more control of it. It's called lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
And then I immediately can implement Steiner's theories. And I see the effect myself. I experience the effect. And I also do the meditations.
Yeah.
And I have the experience doing those. And I have done also Carl Jung's meditations, because his red books is just written in this meditative state. He didn't write, yes. So he only wrote the picture that emerged from its subconscious. And I tried his meditation, and I had the same kind of experiences.
That's
and
wonderful.
It showed the picture showed my state of morality.
Ooh.
And that's not always the most pleasant thing.
No, I was going to say that's very humbling. I would think that's very humbling. I didn't really know how to respond to that one.
No, it's very humbling.
Right?
But I also
did have one time where I saw my face was yellow, and it was very pointed in yellow, and I thought I was seeing my moral nature.
1 second.
That's all right.
1 second. Thank you. So
yeah,
the dream, yellow face.
Yeah, kind of yellow face, kind of it was my face, so I could tell, but it was sort of revealing to me my moral nature, which was, not so good. Right?
That's what you
Steiner gave a wonderful experience one time. He was anecdotal. You might get a kick out of this. It's not funny, but some woman or something was saying how much she wanted to experience an archangel or an angelic being. And Steiner's like, so you really would like to do that? And she's like, oh, yes, I would very much. He says, I could describe for you probably what would occur. She goes, okay. And he goes, when a human being in the state that we're in now would experience an unfallen angelic presence, the reflection would be so powerful as to all of a sudden we would know viscerally in our hearts how far we are, how far we've fallen from the nature we were given in the higher worlds, that we would fall on the ground and writhe in agony in the presence of this being because of the truth of ourselves it was simply showing us by being there.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we just don't know. We don't know, the karma of all the lifetimes, all the good we've done, all the bad we've done. You know what I mean? And all that we're working on, I've always thought it's almost like a layer now. Here's humanity, here's this layer, here's the higher beings, and they're really trying to work through this crud we've created from so many lifetimes, and the evil and the darkness and the egotism and the sensuality and all that. And they're trying to work through that, but they need us. They need us to find ourselves spiritually and meet them, right? If we can't meet them, I don't know if they can get through that very easily without horrible wars, without horrible destruction to break down what we're doing to ourselves right now. That's the sad side of it for me, is Steiner does kind of say, if we can't find the right path, the higher worlds have to effect such shattering circumstances that we question to our very core what we're doing here and why we're here. And there's no other way to do that than by catastrophe.
Yeah.
Damn. I really wish you wouldn't say that, sir.
And I kind of know it. I have a feeling of this too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's kind of there, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
And I guess when will the wake up occur? That's why, and that really a lot of this, Wilhelm, is why was a motivation, however unconscious it was in the beginning, and has become more conscious as time went on, to get the Steiner stuff out there in any way, shape, and form I could, not lay any money issues on it, not lay any, I want your email and then you can get into my website, none of that stuff. Just dump it on the web and have people run into it. And, well, what? Because what else is there? I don't know what else that we can do, And there are things happening, but it's still too slow.
Yeah. A wise man only celebrates action, because people, I feel, but they never take any action. And for me, it's, for example, there's some evil things going on over there. Oh yeah, I will move my ass when you pay me. That's most people today. I'm gonna be happy when you pay me. So, very well. You're a moral person, huh? Are you?
Yeah.
But you have to. I think humor is a very important tool these days.
Yeah.
And I have seen the effects of it on especially the city dwellers. You can know people living in the city. They are in Stockholm. It's bad now. People are they're missing something, and when you can, with humor. I have seen the effects myself. Unfortunately, the community threw me out. The dogma.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what about Ismo?
I've seen Ismo. He has a very, very talented comedian. I have not seen all his work. But I've seen
I mean, I haven't either, but it's got a pleasantness to it, and
yes,
and I find it charming.
But
I'm not saying I love him or hate him or anything. Just curious, because he's from your kind of neck of the woods.
For me, I want comedians to have a little bit more courage and implement morality in the jokes, but because morality is going to give a much deeper depth to the jokes.
Yeah.
But you need some courage to do that. It's more material triviality they joke about.
He does. Absolutely right. Yeah.
And an amount of courage is needed. For example,
That's
when I
nice.
did
I like
my a little bit going off topic, when I did the meditations, and I did a digging meditation, so you just dig down in your subconscious. It can be very unpleasant, but it needs a bit of courage. And I was so curious, and after several trials, I got to a door and I opened the door, and there was an armor. And then in my vision, I put the armor on, and I felt something transform within me. And then I was gonna do some jokes that evening, and the audience gaze can be very penetrating. Other people looking, and I felt that I had the armor on me. And they were bouncing off. So I was much more free to do the jokes.
Wow.
Much more free. It was day
I
and
wish I knew
night.
Swedish.
And
You didn't speak in English, right?
The synchronicity thing is yes, in Swedish, and the synchronicity that people died almost of laughter. It was as well. It was what's going on for me. That was such effect.
So did you get some of these recorded? These
I have some, but when I started recording them, they throw me out. They were uncomfortable with me in that type of business.
So if you've gone to a larger city and tried it,
I've done it in Stockholm. It's a large in Sweden. Yes. So I need my own comedy club.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah, I'm working. I'm working on it.
Takes up. How long have you had the mushroom business now?
I started it almost 1 year. Soon 1 year. But it takes time building the factory.
Sure, it does. Yeah.
It takes and several mistakes, and if you ever come to Sweden, I will show it. Yeah.
Well, okay then.
If you come to Järna, then I will. But for 1 year now, and I'm trying to fix it as quickly as possible. Because I want, many people in Sweden, they don't like eating meat, but they have gotten used to the habit of eating meat, and they're addicted to meat. So I wanted to grow these really quality mushrooms to get this meaty feeling and provide.
I'll be darned.
Yes, that's and people try the mushrooms because I grow them in optimal conditions to get the best qualities, and they really like the product.
That's exciting.
Production, production is hard. Yes, making one work, but you have to make the process that it always delivers every day, and all the processing that very effective. And that's the hard.
So you looked up all of Steiner's references to mushrooms?
No, if you have any, I've tried to find them.
Okay, so Rudolf Steiner archive. Have you looked up it's a text searching tool called Rudolf Steiner archive. It's not the music, but just Rudolf Steiner archive, and they have a search tool in there, and you can look up mushroom, and it'll give you every of all the ones they have so far done, which is a lot. They'll give you all the searchings of all. He said something about mushroom, the word highlight, and then maybe some of the sentence, and then the lecture it's in. So I'm trying to remember some. There were some pretty amazing statements in there, and I can't remember them anymore. But
so they breathe oxygen. So you have to be something, with their body, or something very, very special with mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I've looked for it, in the readings, but very nice tip here. It's been over an hour now, Dale. We have.
Whenever you're ready to quit, just let me know.
I have many questions.
I'm fine.
But we can end this episode for here, and I would love to do another one.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
You're very welcome.
Amazing readings. I get a lot of joy from them, and I really spread it to other people. Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the great blessings I've had in my life is that this has worked for people. I'm just very, very pleased and gratified and humbled by that. I got to tell you.
But you live in Colorado now. But you're born in England?
No, I was born in North Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota. So in America.
Oh, I thought you had the English accent, but
people have mentioned that to me, that I do read them. Yeah, in the early days, I think I overread them. I was so
Okay.
shocked that I was allowed to do this and that people might listen. Nobody did it back, by the way, for the first 2 or 3 years. There was virtually nothing because I just wanted it to grow by word of mouth. I didn't want to do any kind of advertising or anything. I don't know if that was right or wrong, but you know, I had this thing that I gradually grew out of, which was, you know, a little bombastic in my speaking in the early times. You know, hopefully I have anyway. So, but
Very well.
all right,
I would love to do another one. I'm gonna
yeah, let me know
just some
anytime.
editing and like yes, and I will post
Okay.
it on the channel here.
And yeah, send me a link. Send me a link when you
Yes,
do.
yes. Thank you very much for your time and
You bet.
yes, take care.
Good night or good after. Good night where you were.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna go to
Good
the
evening.
factory and fix a little
Okay.
bit. Fix.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.